We are live. Hello, y'all. Happy Thursday. I hope you guys are doing well. We have a very special guest who's going to be joining us today. She's actually the current Miss Wisconsin USA 2020. And we're going to be talking about mental health because that's, what she's been talking about during her year of service. And so I'm thrilled to talk to her about it. I think it's something that needs to be discussed openly more often because there's a stigma that comes with taking care of your mental health and having mental health issues, even though there shouldn't be. And I think, just talking about it openly and having productive discussion is going to be really helpful. So let me join her in. Very excited. Oh, someone said, Misha said, hey, bun. Yeah, I've got my hair up today. My hair has had a long week, so I'm pulling it back. Hello, dear. How are you?
How are you?
I'm good. It's great to see you. Happy Thursday.
Hey, your hair's had a long week, and I'm like, my hair's had a long 2 months, 3 months. Like, it's been trapped.
I was going to say, there's so much product in my hair right now. It's actually hard. It's not even soft. You can actually hear it.
Oh my God. I know. When the amount of product that you have to put into it just to manage it, I don't think a lot of people realize what goes into it. So I feel you. I feel you.
Manage these curls takes a lot of product. So I was telling everybody we're talking about mental health today because it's what you advocate for a lot as Miss Wisconsin USA. But before we jump into that, I want to hear a little bit about you because you're currently in Wisconsin. You're serving as a journalist for a station in Wisconsin, right?
Yes, in Madison, Wisconsin. So I'm a local journalist for WKOW. It's my local station. And that's essentially what I moved to Wisconsin to do. I had no idea that the Lord was going to bring so much to my life moving here. And I've been pursuing journalism for the past 2 years. I actually used to be a former, I think a lot of people found that out last year. So my life has been...
Wait, you were cutting in and out for a second there. You were a journalist because of what?
I used to be a chemist before I was a journalist. So I actually moved...
A chemist?
A chemist, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, a chemist. And I did that for 6 years. I got my undergraduate degree in that. I worked in the business for about 2 years after college. And I realized I am so not passionate about what I'm doing. How can I live my entire life like this? I always wanted to be a journalist since I was a little girl. And I found the courage from friends around me and my family. And they were like, okay, gonna be real crazy. And I was like, I know.
Yeah, well, and I'm glad that you switched. It sounds like you've been much happier as a journalist than you were as a chemist. What inspired you?
I remember watching David Muir when I was a little girl on TV, and he works for ABC World News Tonight right now, and he was interviewing a girl in Afghanistan, and he was asking her about her life during the war. And immediately afterwards, there was a surge of energy towards helping children who were victims of her. Oh, what's happening?
Losing your camera there.
I know. And immediately when I saw that, I knew this is something I want to do. If my voice, allowing other people to tell their story with confidence, can bring a positive surge of energy to issues that I care about and that the world should care about. Oh, yeah. Something I want to do.
Yeah, well, good. I'm glad that you did because I mean the work that you've done has been incredible, and I know just getting to talk to people myself, on Extra has been really, really cool. So that's great that you're doing that. So let's jump into our talk about mental health. Why did you decide to advocate for mental health awareness? I mean, you work a lot with is it Mental Health America?
Yeah, I work a lot with Mental Health America here in Wisconsin. And it's really personal to me because when I was 13, my mom was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. And 5 years ago, my brother was diagnosed with depression. And so that was always an ongoing cause in my life. It was only natural that I became an advocate for it after becoming Miss Wisconsin because I would volunteer with them. And I know that story very personally. I also know that comes along with it because I hid it for so long.
Yeah.
My entire life. I never wanted to tell anyone in school what was going on at home. I never wanted to talk with friends about what was going on at home. I never wanted to give any inkling that my life was not perfect.
Yeah. Well, and I think there are a lot of people who feel the same way, who, don't feel stigmatized because, they or family members may be dealing with mental health issues and don't often feel like they can talk to other people about it. So I think it's good that, you've got this platform. So it looks like we're losing your camera a little bit. Do you want to just hold it instead of setting it up?
Kind of just like, oh, lies always like shake me up a little bit.
Poor thing. And also, guys, if you guys have specific questions while we're in this discussion, make sure to drop them in the little question box. It's the box at the bottom. It's like a little box with a question mark in it. Makes it easier for us to see your questions when you have them, because I know I miss a lot of comments sometimes. So that's great. Okay, so why did you? I know you talked a little bit about issues that your family has dealt with, your mother, your brother. Were there any? Was there any other reason why you specifically picked mental health awareness?
That was the main thing, and it morphed into understanding that a lot of underrepresented communities like my own, because both my parents are immigrants and I also identify as a Black woman through life, are not talking about mental illness. When you one in our community who is dealing with that, what we usually go to is church, or we usually push it under the rug because what it's labeled as is being crazy instead of. And so I realized that really early on into getting involved with the process, that this is not only a worldwide issue, but also issue in the communities of color and underrepresented communities, because of just the lack of awareness of what it looks like, what it sounds like, what it feels like, and how we should address it when someone needs help.
Exactly. So what do you think is the most important step towards, raising awareness and destigmatizing mental health issues?
First things first, talk about it. Don't be afraid to talk about it. If you are experiencing anxiety, depression, or you're witnessing someone who on the other spectrum may be dealing with schizophrenia or bipolar disorder, these are things that are okay to discuss. And we have to remove the word crazy from that discussion in order to have it logically, right? Because a lot of illnesses and a lot of things that have to do with mental health are chemically in your brain. Chemically in your body. They're not having to deal with how great you are as a person, your experience, sometimes your experience in the past, but it has nothing to do with how far you can go and what you can do and what you're capable of. So I'm big on talking to people about not being afraid to talk about it and what language goes around about that.
Well, and I think, even in times like the time that we're in now, it's important to constantly monitor your own mental health, because I know that, the unrest that we've been dealing with, the pandemic that we've been dealing with all at the same time has caused a lot of stress for a lot of people. And so I think, being aware of, where you are is really, really important. So how have things been going for you mentally?
Yeah, I've actually myself been experiencing a lot more of my mental health varying through this situation, like many people have. I mean, my job hours were cut, unable to, oh my gosh, sorry, that cut off. I wasn't able to see my friends like I normally am. Not going to appearances as a title holder has been really difficult, because what you imagine your career to look like is nothing like what imagined. I competed for 7 years to get to Miss USA, and every year I of it in a different variation, but I never dreamed of this.
Your poor camera keeps falling. Maybe you should hold it instead.
Sounds good.
Maybe try holding it so it doesn't keep dropping.
I never imagined it like this. Like, I don't think anyone could have put that in the path of the class of 2020 and said, this is what your year is going to be like. Here's the preparation. So there's a lot of anxiety that comes with that. There's a lot of sadness that comes with that as well. And there's a lot of confusion, but our mental health is being affected. And I know there's a lot of people out there who have lost their jobs. I know there's a lot of people out there who have not seen their family in months, And I'm one of those people. There's a lot of people out there who are experiencing what it's like to really lose all control. And that's when you start experiencing anxiety and depression and things that can really spiral out of control. So we have to be very cognizant of that.
I agree. And I think, communicating that and just saying a lot of what you're dealing with helps other people, because I think, one of the problems in not addressing mental health is thinking that, you're the only person dealing with it, and that, you're unusual or weird or different, when in actuality, a lot of people are dealing with the same issues that you are. Here's a good question from your Miss Hawaii USA from your class. She says, how can your community support you through this journey?
Yeah, I'm urging people right now, especially during the Black Lives Matter movement and definitely during COVID, to reach out to your friends who are, first of all, a part of underrepresented communities, because they are dealing with indiscrepancies that already existed and inequalities that already existed before the pandemic that are now being piled onto them.
Underrepresented communities, like minority communities, like Black people, brown people, or what do you mean?
New community, any community, that the Asian community, the Latino community, all these communities have been affected by inequalities before this pandemic took place. And so now this is being compounded onto them, and they are really experiencing the brunt of a social issue. Somebody said the gay community, yes, the LGBT community, like we all have already been experiencing that. So I say reach out to those people first. Make sure your friends that you know are okay. You can even reach out to people that you know that you see are of color or that you know are of the LGBT community and say, like, hey, is there anything I can do for you? Can I bring you lunch today? Can I maybe even pay for your coffee this morning? Little things like that can really make someone's day and really change their life. And so that's what I encourage people to do. That's what I encourage the community to do, because as a queen right now, I am just trying to train for Miss USA and do the best job that I can representing my state. And it's really not about me. My job right now is to help. My job right now is to say things like this, but there are people in your life who don't have that opportunity that I or Cheslie have. So I encourage you to reach out to those people.
Yes, exactly. Well, and what else should people be doing to, take care of their mental health? Is it because it's not always just a matter of, talking to your friends and checking on them, right?
Yes, that's only the start of it. I always encourage people to get outside. I know that we can't be inside with others, but the one thing that has been proven by science and proven by studies and proven by research is that once you get outside and you start walking and you start feeling nature and you start feeling the air, that really enhances your mood. So know that even though it's difficult to be like, oh, I don't want to put on pants, you should do it, because once you do it, you won't regret it. It's like a good workout, right?
Exactly. I mean, that's one of the things that helped me. I mean, when the pandemic first started, I was afraid to go outside because I'm here in New York. Originally, we were the epicenter of the outbreak, and the infection numbers and numbers of people dying daily was really, really scary. But eventually, I got like a mask, and I would always wear gloves, and I would just bundle up and just go literally walking in Central Park. And it helped tremendously.
And your mood just enhances. I think another thing too is keeping parts of your daily routine that you still have control over. So whether that is making breakfast every morning for yourself, or whether that is maybe even going to bed at a certain time, or watching your favorite TV show. These are all things that keeps the normalcy alive and keeps your brain understanding that you're still a human being. Things are going to get better. They're going to move forward. All this really is controlling our minds over the emotions that we're having towards this. The lucky ones of us who have not contracted COVID, and the lucky ones of us who have not had to deal with the instant effects of police brutality involving the Black Lives Matter movement, we're still able to live our lives. And we should take that blessing and really just use it to create normalcy for ourselves so that we don't fall into a mental health trap. And two, use that blessing of not having those two things directly affect us, take action.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I agree. And especially having a routine and maintaining some sense of normalcy while we're all dealing with this is certainly helpful. And I think it just gives you something exciting to wake up for. Like I started running in the mornings and I just like look forward to it. I'm like, oh, I can't wait. I'm going to lay my clothes, pick out my music, my playlist. You what?
You're better than me because I'm like, I have to run later on. I can't pick myself up to run in the morning. I've been trying, but honestly, you're my hero for that.
Really, my only motivation is like, I'm coming towards the end of my reign and I just really want to look good in my like final walk dress. It's literally all I look forward to. Is like,
while we're all scared of what we're gonna look like. Go girl.
So yeah, that's the one good thing. I don't have to do a swimsuit, so I definitely don't have to like worry about getting in like Miss USA, Miss Universe swimsuit shape, because that's definitely a lot different. So do you talk to people through your platform about talking to counselors or talking to therapists or other aspects of mental health awareness?
Yeah, I'm huge on therapy. And when I do go out and talk to people around my state about mental health and mental health awareness, I'm the biggest proponent of therapy. I grew up with it not being something that was encouraged or accepted. And I have a therapist. My therapist is actually the one who encouraged me to change my career, because my therapist said, you should do what you wanted to do before anyone swayed you. Before that was being a journalist. I also need a therapist during this time to talk me through the different emotions of being a title holder and what that feels like, what that sounds like, as well as being someone who has family members who are dealing with mental illness. That is also something that I have to deal with on my own. And a therapist is a great resource for that. It's a great resource for anyone. It doesn't matter whether you are in the midst of a mental illness crisis or you are just trying to take care of yourself. Talking about your life to someone who is objective and someone who their only job is to help you is so important.
Exactly. Well, it's helpful. Like I look at a therapist the way that I look at the gym. Like you don't go to the gym just because, you're trying to get in shape. Usually you would go to the gym to like maintain some level of health. And I know for me, when I'm staying in shape, I do feel better. And, I don't always go there when it's just an emergency. I go there to constantly maintain my physical health. And so, thinking about therapists is the same way. You don't always go when you're having a mental breakdown. You go when you're feeling good and you just want to continue to maintain, your sense of normalcy and your sense of self over a long period of time. So how can people find a therapist, and what do you tell people who are worried about being able to afford one?
That's a really difficult one because every state is different, every city is different, and our healthcare system is really in crisis right now, which is why I always tell people you have to advocate for healthcare because mental health is a part of that. And so people having access to that is super important. There is a lot of resources that you can get therapy at that are close to free or essentially free. And Mental Health of America really provides that, and they're a big proponent of that. If you go on their Instagram page or their website, they actually have a mental health center in every state. So whether California, New York, Wisconsin, Louisiana, Hawaii, I Sam earlier, have to shout her out, you can find your Mental Health of America. There's also NAMI. NAMI is a great resource as well in many states, and they can direct you in the way of finding a therapist or finding a healthcare professional that is affordable for you. That is just a part of the journey that you have to take. You have to reach out to these organizations that truly their only job and their main goal in life is to help people find people to talk to.
For sure. Somebody sent in this question. I think it's a good one. Okay, I'm not even going to try but this person. Thank you for your question. I don't want to slaughter your name. The question is, what are signs to look for to know if someone is having a hard time mentally?
Oh, wow. Yeah. So there's many different signs because there's many different illnesses, but the one that is very, very common all mental health is isolation, because taking yourself away from those you love actually encourages them to not see, or it pushes people to ignore that you're even there, that you exist. And so if you find that one of the people in your life is being very recluse and drawing away, that is just a tall tale sign to check in on them and let them know, like, I noticed that you're gone. Is there a reason for that? It doesn't have to be a confrontation, but it definitely needs to be something that you check in on and make sure that you're aware of the fact that people in your life are going blank or they're missing. Another telltale sign is actually somebody who is unfortunately the center of everything. Because more often,
so one telltale sign is being isolated, and then the other telltale sign is constantly surrounding yourself with people.
Because actually the strongest of our friends are sometimes dealing with the biggest of issues. And that is, I always tell people to approach that, like, always check on your strong friends, the friends that you actually lean on, and the friends that you other people leaning on. You have to actually check on them, because they're handling a lot. So these are people in your life who usually go unnoticed. And that's what we saw a lot in the past decade with celebrities who unfortunately have committed suicide, or unfortunately have dealt with mental illness without it being public. It's because no one checked on them. They thought everything was okay.
Exactly. What's one message that you want to leave people with when it comes to you talking about mental health and steps towards maintaining a healthy level of mental health?
The one thing, your mind is a muscle. If you don't use it, you're going to lose it. And you have to be very conscious of the fact that it's your primary muscle. You can't do anything in life that's not healthy. You can't dream, you can't reach for your goals, you can't persist through your goals. And you can't accomplish your dreams if your mind is not in a place that's calm and that's healthy and that's vibrant. And so take care of your mind before you take care of anything else, because the rest will fall in place with a healthy mind.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for this talk. I think it was really important for people to hear. I'm glad that you're working on, your advocacy for mental health awareness and just helping people, especially now in the current climate.
Yes, I think it's so needed and so relevant. It's going to be even more relevant as we go through this year and try to figure out how to navigate our lives after this huge event has happened. So I'm here. I know Mental Health of America is here. I know there's so many people in your life who are around you to help, but make sure that you understand that we're all dealing with mental health issues right now, especially during this time.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Gabriella. It's great to talk to you.
Hi, Cheslie.
See ya.